Hey folks, welcome back, and if you're brand new, welcome. So this video is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to talk about the Academy of Model Aeronautics. As everybody who's followed me knows, I am absolutely a major supporter and fan of the AMA. And I'm a lifetime member, so I'm going to be really transparent here. I do drink the Kool-Aid. I think it's the greatest organization for protecting model aviation. And when we talk about this CBO status we've got, it proves how important the AMA is for us members, okay? So if you are new to my channel, I'm DAG, D-A-G, that's my nickname, but I am obsessed with model aviation, okay? I started with the control line as a kid, moved into radio control, got into giant scale, and then what I call ginormous scale, which is over 150 inches, and it's just in my blood. And it's been a really, really cool part of my life. Just enjoying model aviation. It's one of the coolest things in the world. But what I'm going to talk about today is the CBO status, which is a community-based organization. Okay? And I'm going to try to talk about this as factually as I can. I may say a few things that are a little bit wonky and may not be exactly perfect because I am not with the AMA. I have not been going to Washington every month with the AMA and fighting this battle. I don't know maybe all the exact particulars, and I know here on my channel a lot of you know that I try to only spread facts and the truth. But we're going to talk about the CBO status and what that means and how kick-ass it is for us AMA members. Before I dive in too quick, I want to do a real quick shout out to my sponsor, RTL Fasteners. If you need bolts, nuts, servo screws, anything in model aviation, they probably got it. If you use a code DAG25 and you spend more than $25, you'll get 25% off. Okay, it's a really kick-ass deal. So when we talk about model aviation for me, it's flying this 188-inch electric plane that weighs about 59 pounds. It's almost all ball system, carbon fiber toe, and some light plywood on the engine mount. I designed this in my head, but here's the cool thing. I can fly this, and the federal government doesn't really care as long as I'm part of a community-based organization that has very precise safety programs and rules laid out. So basically, I think it was in the 2018-ish, Congress decided to say, okay, we need to look at everything that flies in the National Airspace, or National Air System, which is the NAS. And they went to the FAA and said, FAA, you need to look at everything, including these model airplane bandits. So it was never the FAA which was the bad guy. It was more of Congress panicking, not knowing what to do with the airspace. So the FAA had to figure out a way for model aviation to fly within the National Air System. And it scared us all because we thought we're going to lose our clubs and we're going to lose the right to fly and we're going to lose all kinds of stuff. And that didn't happen. And the reason it didn't happen is because the AMA monthly was in Washington. There's a gentleman named Tyler Dobbs who has done a magnificent job, in my opinion, saving model aviation. Okay, now I'm going to say something. If you follow my channel, you know I try to always stay positive, but I'm going to say something that's pretty much negative. If you're not an AMA member, you do not have a voice in this. You don't have a voice, because I was at a fly-in and I heard a gentleman blaming the AMA for losing flying rights, which we haven't lost anything, just making up all this BS about what we've lost in model aviation. And I found out he's not even a member of the AMA. So the AMA is not going to meet with Washington and the FAA for non-members. It's a member organization, folks. So if you're not a member of the AMA, you should be thanking them, kissing their asses, saying, you did a great job. I shouldn't have said it like that. You guys have just done a wonderful job protecting all of our flying sites, protecting our rights to fly. But by getting the CBO status, we now have a seat at the table. Now Congress and the FAA recognize us more than just model airplane enthusiasts. So what Tyler Dobbs and his team did in Washington, D.C. all these years is get us legitimately labeled as a part of the National Air System. Okay? When you think of me taking this huge airplane and flying aerobatics and just having a blast with it, and being able to go to virtually any club, a lot of clubs will let me fly there for the day, or I'll join the club, and I would beg you to join as many clubs as you want, support model aviation. But when you think of the ginormous planes I fly, I was terrified I was going to lose the right to fly these. And some things are changing, but because of the AMA safety program, we're kind of self-policing ourselves. As long as the FAA looks at our safety program, which is becoming the gold standard for community-based organizations, it's going to make anybody who wants to become a community-based organization down the road just that much better, that much safer. Okay? I keep hearing people, and actually I have a lot of people reach out to me through my YouTube channel saying, what's this with us losing all of our flying sites? I've never heard of any flying sites we're losing. In fact, the AMA works directly with the FAA to actually get our altitudes lifted above 400 feet. And that's happening to a lot of clubs that fly turbines and gliders. If you want above 400 feet, we now, because we're a CBO, are going to have a seat at the table to work with the AMA and say, hey, look, we need 800 feet here. And they may say, okay, that flying site is got the cap at 800 feet. So now I'm going to get into some words for a minute. If everybody knows me very well, I hate words and I hate posting words. But basically, AMA is now recognized by the FAA as a model aviation community-based organization. We have a seat at the table. We are not just looked at as a club. We now have a place in our National Air System space. Okay? FAA acknowledgments of AMA safety program as the standard. Okay, the gold standard. AMA CBO status now opens a doorway for additional efforts to secure altitudes. Okay, I'm just kind of going over everything I've said. Open the pathway to fly without remote ID modules through FAA recognized identification areas, FRIAs. What that means is, if you're going to fly at a club, you can basically fly without any of the remote ID stuff. Okay, that's once those clubs have been approved as FRIAs, and the AMA is the one who gets that approved through the FAA. Approved FRIAs will allow our members to fly at AMA fields without remote ID broadcasting modules. Members can continue to fly at FRIAs as they always have with the same equipment they've already used. Nothing has changed. Individual clubs cannot apply for FRIA status. Only CBOs can apply for FRIA status on behalf of the clubs. You're going to have a safety program and a lot of other stuff. Okay? So, this is what you really need to be really excited about. And I mean, we should be giddy, tickled, just wonky happy that we got all of this done with the FAA. And actually, Tyler Dobbs is a hero. I mean, he pretty much worked in Washington to really fight for us. I know there's a lot of other people working with Tyler, and I don't know their names, and I wish I did know their names. But we really need to give a round of applause to the AMA and Tyler Dobbs for everything that has been done, because we are really, really securing our place in model aviation. Now, I want to talk briefly about all the different safety programs for a minute, okay? So for large model airplanes like I fly, there are a couple of different categories that you need to know about, and you need to get waivered to fly it. So all this right here is the safety program that the AMA created. You know, people sometimes wonder, well, what do they do up in Muncie, Indiana? They just sit around and fly airplanes? Believe it or not, there's a lot of people in the AMA up at the headquarters that don't even fly. There are administrators, there are people that help create all these rules and write all this stuff for us. So if you think about just large-scale aviation having its own category, kind of, let's say, of all the safety stuff we have to have, you have to have that for events, for turbines, for fly-ins, for contest. There's probably 50 or 60 safety things that the AMA's created over the years that now is the gold standard if you want to be a CBO. So when you think about having fun in model aviation, to me this is one of the biggest blasts I ever have. This is Olive, a robotic baby I put in my airplane and fly her at fly-ins, and it's just an absolute blast. But because of the efforts of the AMA, I'm going to be able to keep doing this. And it's my little thing that I love to do, is have fun with this hobby, okay? So, look, everybody, you know, I'm the kind of person that always, I will tell you a real quick story about my daughter. My daughter is going to a university, a well-known university, and she'll call me sometimes, and I'll stop and say, hey, Emma, do you need to complain, or do we need to have a solution? She's like, I just need to complain, Dad. I let her complain. She's like, Dad, I need a solution. I've always tried to run my YouTube and model aviation that if there's a problem, let's find the solution. Let's not bitch about it. Let's not just sit around the campfire and throw the AMA under the bus. So if you ever have any friction about how you think the AMA works or anything, call Muncie, Indiana, where the headquarters is, and talk to somebody. Okay? I'm really starting to lose my mind over all these people that talk so negatively about the AMA. But keep in mind for a minute, imagine you're on a 12-hour flight on a jumbo jet, and there's one little baby back there just screaming its guts out. You can't sleep. Me personally, I would feel sorry for the baby because I know with the air pressure changes, their ears are probably hurting and that baby can't help it. But everybody else can't sleep and everybody else is pissed on the plane, okay? But everybody else on that airplane are really cool people. I look at the AMA membership as 99.9% of the people being absolutely awesome. But once in a while you get that one voice that complains, and it's that baby on the airplane screaming, and everybody's like, oh my God, let's all freak out. Okay? The Academy Model Aeronautics has basically saved our asses with flying within the national airspace. Okay? And there's about 200,000 members, and we include the youth and the adults and all the different ages. But there's like 1.6 million people that signed up with the FAA. And I don't understand why our membership of the AMA isn't 500,000 people. And it's my goal in life to get as many people to join the AMA as possible. Everybody I meet, I tell them what it does for me, what I like about the AMA. Now, sure, 20 years ago I had some problems. There's a couple of old farts up there that just didn't get that we need to become more modern. But the AMA we are today is an absolutely kick-ass organization, and they saved our asses flying in the national air system as far as I'm concerned. Okay? I know there's some other organizations out there, but they're not community-based organizations like we are. They may be soon, but it is absolutely kick-ass that the AMA, through Tyler Dobbs, was able to get us our community-based organization status. This is huge, folks. Okay? Now, I am going to do a video, and I don't want to get too far into it now, but I posted this on my Facebook, how excited I was. And somebody posted, well, I guess the dues are going to go up to $100 now. and that kind of stuff just blows my mind. You know, I want to stroke out or have a chest grabber. I think AMA dues are $85 a year. I don't know anymore because I'm a lifetime member. You know, I paid the, $1,600 or $1,700 10 or 15 years ago. And I am a lifetime member because I absolutely love what the AMA is. But $85 a year, I'm going to do a video on this into the AMA. If you go to a movie and dinner with your kids and family, you're going to spend more than $85. If you got cable TV, you're going to spend more than $85. I want to use some profanities now, but I always try to keep my YouTube really clean, and my Facebook. If you follow me very long, you know I never allow religion or politics in any of my doings because it just creates chaos. But $85 a year, are you kidding me? Now look, I know some people are on fixed incomes. I get it. I know your cigarettes and your beer and your Captain Morgan is more important than $85 a year to fly model airplanes at a club. I get it. But, and I'm going to shut up because I don't want to give away too much of the video I'm doing on why you should join the AMA. But lastly, the AMA should be selfish. and they are, for their members. They don't give jack poop about non-members because it's a members paying organization. They are there to support their members. If you were a CEO or a president of a company and you had 150 employees and some doorknob from the street came up and says, well, you don't know how to run your company. You don't know how to do this. You don't do this. You'd say, well, are you a paying customer? Oh, no, I've never bought your stuff. Then what relevancy do you have? Well, I should have some relevancy because you should be listening to me just because I'm that loud baby on the airplane. The AMA doesn't care about non-members. They were doing all of this for that 200,000 members, both youth and adult, to make sure we can fly out our fields and do really, really cool things, folks. To me, it doesn't get much cooler than having a robotic baby in a 188-inch electric flying at a fly-in. But also think about how much that disrupts the world a little bit. Who would have ever thought back in the 80s when I was flying my Eagle 2 or my Goldberg Chipmunk or any of that we would have electrics that are 10 horsepower, that we would have electrics that are 188-inch wingspans, that we'd have a robotic baby that can look around. The only thing I wish I could have done is made the pacifier go in and out while the plane was flying. Who would have thought back in the 80s what we would have today? But then imagine what we're going to have in another 10, in another 15, and another 20 years. Okay? And one last thing. I did get an email last night with somebody that was asking me about the FRIAs, and I'm not an expert on FRIAs. But the way I understand FRIAs is that if your club for some reason can't get a FRIA status, and we still don't know what would make somebody not give a club a FRIA status, you can still fly at that club. You're just going to have that remote broadcast module in your airplane. That's, to me, one of the most exciting things about what's going on with the federal government is that even if you can't fly at a FRIA, which means we fly just like we do today, just go there, fire up your airplane and fly, we'll have a little remote broadcast module we'll put in our airplane. And as long as we are not getting into an airport's controlled airspace or something like that, we can still fly if you got a cornfield behind your house that you've been flying in for 20 years, you can still fly there. You're just going to need that module. Okay? If you've been flying on an old dirt road on some farmer's property that gave you permission, you can still fly there. You're just going to have that module. Okay? So model aviation as we know it did not change that much, and I think we got a lot more out of this than anybody really thought we would get. Okay? But if you're an AMA member, make sure you thank headquarters and just tell them how kick-ass this is. If you're a non-member, why wouldn't you join? Now look, I know some people don't like politics at clubs, some of the jerks at clubs, stuff like that. I understand. Here's what I would challenge you. If you're, let's say, 25 and you got a group of people that are really kick-ass and you guys are flying gliders and drones and helicopters and all that stuff, and you want to join the AMA, do it. If you want to join a club and the club is run by a whole bunch of dickheads, then what I would recommend is you get enough people together to vote the dickheads out and take over the club and make it a more modern club. I am sick of some of these old farts that fly 40-pound, 80-inch P-40s, and they're terrible pilots, great builders, but they want to run the club. And actually, that's going away. A lot of these people are stroking out or dying, and they're just going away, and the younger crowds are coming into the clubs now. So rock on, everybody. And look, I know I'm a little bit odd, and that's just the way I've always run my YouTube. But look, folks, the AMA won the Super Bowl for us. Okay, Tyler Dobbs won the Super Bowl for us. For us to have CBO status is incredibly cool because now we are a legitimate part of our national air system. Okay, not just a bunch of yahoos. So look, everybody, rock on. I always end my videos with begging you to get youth into model aviation. And I can't believe the amount of trolls that came out and told me I was full of crap for trying to get young people into model aviation. I should be targeting those 25 and older or those 30 or older. Well, once you're 30, you're already divorced and you don't have a wife's expenses. That's an email I got. Target somebody over 30. They're normally divorced and they're bored. What? Here's the thing. One email says parents don't have time to take the kids to the flying field. They don't have time to work with the kids on the airplanes. They don't have time to do any of that for the kids. BS. A lot of kids, the parents take them to Boy Scouts. They take them to baseball, hockey, football, archery. Okay, parents love to get their kids involved with things. Parents love to get their kids away from the cell phones and the video games. Think of some of the heroes in life, the Hoot Gibsons, the Rutans, Neil Armstrong, all these people that started model aviation, where it took them. It was the gateway drug to getting into engineering or the Air Force or being a fighter pilot or being an engineer. Model aviation is that gateway to really kick-ass things. And it's going to be a lot more fun than playing, high school and college football, getting a business degree, and then going out and realize all you can do is be a used car salesman, because not everybody makes it to the NFL. So look, rock on, everybody. Please like and subscribe my video. And I've got a video coming up where I'm really going to toot my horn for the AMA and why you should join, why $85 isn't that much money. Be safe, everybody, and be nice to each other. And please get kids involved in model aviation. Rock on.